Welcome in, everybody, to another Bump Super Brawl tournament video. My name's Glanzer. Welcome in. Thank you so much for being here. This is the second tournament video brought to you by Ubisoft, Magenta Rat, and sort of myself. I help him out a little bit. This time, the only thing I helped him out with was kind of deciding the theme. I don't know what word we want to use. The theme, the gimmick, the format. I think format's a good one. The tournament format this time, I suggested that since Ravynn was the most recently released character, that we should have her be forced to be everybody's VIP. And I think everybody agreed that that was a pretty cool format, to the point that in the future, we might continue the format of picking some units for people. And I'll talk about that a little bit later. If you want to be part of the conversation for what we might do in future tournaments, or if you want to be part of the tournament, make sure you check out the link in the description to join the Discord for this game, the official Discord. And then also leave any comments that you think about tournaments, whether how we should play them, what types of things we should do for them, stuff like that. And we'll talk about that at the end as well. So hold your comments and your applause till the end, folks. We're going to have some fun. I'm going to first show you guys my setup that I had for the tournament. And in my opinion, I do think I had kind of the best setup you could possibly have picked, and I'll explain to you why. Now, obviously you had to pick the Ravynn. Now, the two options that you really had for the Ravynn that really impacted the match, I think, were whether you went Ravynn Mark or piercing shots. Now, in my opinion, in a VIP format, that Ravynn Mark is going to be the choice you have to make, especially if they have it. If you don't get that buff respectively, you might lose just because of that. So I think that was the best one, although you could play in certain ways where the piercing shot will benefit you, and I'll kind of explain that a little bit later. But in my opinion, this Ravynn Mark, that 60% damage debuff, or damage buff or debuff, if you get that on the enemy VIP, it stays there forever, basically. And if you get that on him, it's just an incredible amount of damage debuff, and it makes it so that they basically can't kill your VIP, because a lot of the time in VIP, the only way you're going to win is get the VIP super attack on their VIP to beat them, right? It's a quintessential part of VIP. That's why Petra's so good. We'll explain that later as well. You guys are not only going to see some top-level gameplay here, you're going to learn how to play VIP at a top level. I'll be explaining that to you. So Ravynn Mark, in my opinion, was the way to go. This one didn't really matter. Obviously, attack boost would probably be the best one, but I ran out of sparks for this. She's fairly new, so I haven't been able to up her yet, but if I had the choice, I would say the attack boost is good. Otherwise, taking less damage from dashes is what I went with. It's not terrible, you know, a little bit of defense there. Taking less damage from barrels might not have been bad to do, looking at what the options are now. And then pickups are more powerful, isn't bad either, because if the map ended up having pickups, could end up being okay. Take less damage from fire, not likely to be impactful. The fire units aren't super big here, so not a whole lot of choices there. And then for this, in my opinion, super protect on a VIP is kind of your only option if you have it. It's hugely impactful. It's when they use a super, and in this format, I was healing like 500 HP each time. It's very, very good. Otherwise, fired up, moving through allies increases their damage. Isn't terrible to try to boost, you know, somebody else that has a strong attack. Otherwise, I think double impact is very strong. If you got a position where you could boost through them and damage them, that was just good damage. Spines isn't terrible for a VIP because you could potentially take such huge amounts of damage that the spines could potentially do a lot of damage, and then that knockback can potentially help you, so that's not terrible. Supportive sleep, I don't think that's necessarily good. Potentially good if she's the supporter, not the VIP. And then take my mana, same idea. Pretty good if she's a support. And that's also one reason why I thought that Ravynn would be interesting to be the VIP, because her kit is much more built to support a VIP than be the VIP. So everybody would have been used to playing her as a support, forcing her to be the VIP. Kind of cool. So I think everybody enjoyed the format. Good job, Glanzer. All right, so we do have 3 and 3 here. Big part of this was the super protect. I think that protected me in a lot of the matches. Now on the secondary side here, we have Val. Pretty typical choice here. You have two choices. You either have take my mana, You either have Healing Wave or you have Fired Up. Those are kind of the options since if you're going to support with her. I went with Fired Up. My goal was to get her to boost my Ravynn and do a ton of damage. That's the kind of goal. Otherwise, you could try to heal with this, but that's on enter, so you have to flip-flop it a little bit. I feel like this worked out pretty well for me. This one, Shield Piercer. I got lucky and I did this 3 times and I got Shield Piercer. Looking back, I should have probably went for more 3rd tier perks on Ravynn, but I did also get lucky. So I did 6 here and I got honestly lucky. I got the 3 I wanted, so I got bonus movement speed, which made it much more easy for me to be able to fire up through Ravynn. So that worked out pretty well. Otherwise, dash boost probably pretty good. She does pretty good dash damage. But the biggest, and the Shield Piercer doesn't really matter, but maybe it helps you in an attack. But the Fired Up was the biggest thing I did for her. Now, when she gets killed, Izzy comes in and heals. So obviously Izzy can use her attack to heal. My attack also heals allies, so I can attack on a normal attack. Also, with your super attack, she does a good heal. The range isn't really useful, so this is your choice. So I'm glad that I got this early and didn't have to waste sparks on that. None of this really helped her, and since she's the one that comes in, a lot of the time in VIP, nobody will die because everybody knows that everybody has like the repost healing wave set up and stuff like that in the last gift. So everybody knows that if you die, they're gonna heal probably. So you're actively trying not to kill the enemy, and that's why Zhang is so good because you can kill your own person. Which in future ones, we can't ever let Zhang be the VIP in a tournament because it'll just be boring and everybody will get a draw. And it'll just be too meta. So we have to, I think forcing characters on people to prevent just a meta tournament is fun because everybody sees those decks all the time, right? So yeah, none of this really mattered, so we didn't spend any energy on that. Otherwise, she wasn't probably going to see much time because, like I said, Val wasn't going to die much. Now, Baba is the key here. You need this heal. 240% heal is just a bonkers amount for how much attack he had. 240% of, 385 at this level, I think, and I'm like level 13 in the tournament, so it's like more than 1,000 heal. I feel like people were complaining about the heal in the tournament and that it's a lot of draws. I think if you just removed Baba or just made him not let him not have this perk. I think if you want to keep Baba and use spawn shot to potentially limit their value on spawn, sure, you can do that, but it's like you're not like I said, you probably don't want to kill people because it's just going to heal them. So I think if you just limited this perk, maybe it'd be okay. Otherwise, you just have to ban him completely, and I think that's going to help because without that huge amount of heal every time, Izzy can't heal enough to do it. I don't think anybody else really heals. Ravynn does heal, but I don't think it's necessarily enough to, maybe it is, but people are talking about healing reduction in VIP, and I don't necessarily think that's the answer. And stuff like this can be played against because, like I said, you can just choose not to, try not to actively knock out their other players, right? And then third trait here wasn't really impactful at all. And then when he dies, Petra comes in. Looking back, maybe Petra should have been instead of Val to start because I feel like I would have gotten much more value from Petra's, holding people in place than I did Val's attack boost, but I could be wrong with that. Double impact, probably a good thing. Nothing. It was pretty light. It was pretty unlikely that after spawning in, she would die, so it didn't really need to be a heal character on that one. Yeah, the double impact to just potentially get, 40% attack boost on her ultimate could maybe kill somebody with enough damage, right? Otherwise, Berserk isn't a bad option to get, just potential. I think double impact is just more consistent. This one doesn't really matter. This one's collectible boost. I probably should have switched to hazards, but I don't even think my Petra spawned once in these matches. So that is my setup. And then my Teska was my off. I didn't really foresee it getting to him because I figured it was pretty unlikely that both of us are going to kill the Rav at the same time. Or it's more like the Rave because it's Ravynn, but if you shorten it to RAV, it's Rav. Anyway, Rave, I like Rave. It was pretty unlikely that we'll both kill the Rave at the same time, right? So I feel like he was a pretty good one to come in and potentially just do a lot of damage. If the enemy had Zhang as their secondary, I probably would have lost. But I could potentially, you know, with the damage, I have an extra health boost of 20%, spines extra damage. Just potentially I could do damage, but I'm glad it never came to that. So let's check out the matches here. I have them recorded for the first round, which I would say is the most important round or the most fun round. Now this is with me and Sword of Mana. I appreciate him helping me out after this and talking about the matches and what was good and bad about the tournament. We'll talk about that after this. So let's watch. So Sword of Mana, very good player. He's high up in the rank. As you can see here, it doesn't show here. Hold on, I gotta check quick. It shows after the match is over. Or maybe it doesn't. No, it shows. Oh. That's odd. Oh, right there. Okay, he's 8th. Sword of Mana is 8th in the world right now. Big player here. All right, so he did have the Zhang. And so I think in the future, we might have to ban Zhang in the VIP or just force the VIP. In the future, we might also have to do Brawl, because Brawl is much harder to draw on. Because it's just, if you do a best of 5 format and there's a bunch of draws, it can just potentially take so long to get them done. So Zhang might have to be banned as well. But like I said, I was very lucky that we didn't get to that second tier, because I probably would have lost. Now he's got the gold one, so we know he means business. Now he's leading with the Petra. Petra has a lot of value. Now I do get the fired up boost. So this is interesting now. He's vulnerable here. So I have my boosted Ravynn that can now get a good hit on him. Now I need to try to avoid this damage. And I decided to go up instead of down, because I figured he would think I would want to get away from the Harik, but I didn't think the Harik was going to bother me very much. So I hit him with that. Now see how I did 1722 because I had an extra 40% or whatever from the boosted Valkyrie. So huge amount of value there for me. He missed his Petra, so I'm not stuck in place, but I am stuck in place to the extent that he could get to me. But like he could take his Ravynn now, run up to me, use his special, and do a lot of damage to me. But he's not close enough to hit me with all of the shots, right? And I know that I can use Baba to heal her and prevent a lot of that damage. So he's gonna do that. He decides to do similar. Now I heal, doesn't really matter because I don't have any damage. But I do heal there. Now that doesn't necessarily do much to me. Actually, I don't actually end up healing anything because the heals from both of those came before the damage. So you can complain about the heals and say there's too much heal, but because of the way it works, your goal should not only be to heal your guy, but to also have somebody else that can help you do enough damage where you fully kill them. Like it doesn't matter if they heal of 2000 HP because you will do 100% of their damage, right? Is that possible? Not necessarily. With Ravynn, Tezka, maybe Strip with boosts, you can do that because you can hit them with multiple parts. And that is what you'll see some people try to do with their Tezka and stuff like that. So here I had to just avoid the damage. You kind of figured he'd take the Harik in, and I get my feathers. Will I hit him though? Now we smack him with that and they go through. Now something that's important to note is that the piercing damage of the special, even if you don't have pierce, the special pierces, right? So that's important to note. You'll still pierce through even if it doesn't. So that is match 1, a nice one there. I feel like on his side, he left his Ravynn too exposed and gave me the opportunity to use my special. And you notice because he had that debuff, it's possible if he didn't have that debuff that he would have beat me when he hit me with his thing, or if he would have had a bigger boost, he would have killed me, but he had a 60% debuff. So when he hit me with his ultimate, it did less damage than I did with my normal attack. So we do this again and see he's got the debuff on me. So I've got the buff and the debuff. So you expect me to run through him to the right. So instead I decide to use Baba and heal. Now my heal basically just counteracts the, every time he uses the RJ, excuse me. So that was a good play on his part. I was not expecting him to move the piggy there. So this put me in a potential, I was like, oh man, I'm gonna lose this one. So he uses the RJ, but luckily, like I said, if his damage came first, I could have lost, but my heal comes first. I hit him. I also heal 583 because he's using his ability. So keep that in mind. I lose a ton of value from the poison here though, but he gets poisoned, so it's interesting. And I would have been interested in seeing what would have happened if he didn't use the RJ special and instead just did a normal RJ attack on me, which still does decent damage, but it wouldn't have triggered my heal, so it probably would have netted him more damage. And then his Ravynn, like this turn, his Ravynn could have jumped me and used the special on me, and not just like he could have turned that way and hit me and then killed me potentially, right? So we both whiffed this. We both thought the other one wouldn't move, hoped they wouldn't move, but at the same time, we both did kind of have to move. Because if they didn't, like, he could have used his Harik on me and potentially kill. So it's tough. But you also have to know, I know that he can't use any of his specials this turn because he's only got 2 mana. I can potentially use my special, so, you know, he has to think about that. Now, in this one, I'm forced to heal. So I have to run away and get the heal. I'm still debuffed. The star arrow comes out. He doesn't move, which I don't necessarily think that's good or bad. Huge damage. See, but because of the damage, I'm going to get a heal. Because I get healed whenever when either of my first 2 die, I get a heal, whether that's from one of them leaving or the other person coming in. So I get like a 30% heal from Izzy, 875. That's big time. So I don't think it's a question that this matchup, he did more damage than I did to him. I also think he could have moved much closer there to hit me multiple times. Like, he's only hitting me 1 time with it here. I feel like that's a mistake, but I think he also wanted to hit the barrel to do extra damage. So I get the goal there, but I think he would have been better off moving closer and just hitting me with more things. But maybe he was also trying to avoid, you know, just getting hit right next to me. Because also, if you get too close to the person, they can use the Baba heal and turn you into a pig, which impacts you. So it's not great. But he does get me with the barrels, which does good damage. So, and I can't do that much damage to him, but I'm hoping that because I have my special, I can get through him, dash through him, and I'm assuming that he's maybe going to shoot that way and he could maybe kill me, but he also could aim where I was, so I'm just kind of seeing what happens here. But we do huge amount of damage here. But he is smart and he hits there, but I don't think, no, the AoE did hit me. He did hit me with it, but it wasn't enough. The spines of his guy almost killed me though, so that was close. So we did do best of 5 format, so that's 2-0 on my side. Good matches so far though. Close and down to the wire. If you get 2 points in VIP, it's a good match because it went towards the end. And now we have the final matchup between us, which kind of spoils who wins. But this one was a lot of fun. So same thing as last time, trying to get that boost, but I figure this time maybe I'll mix it up. And that was maybe a mistake there, because now I can't heal. So I go with that to protect him from the dash. I don't end up doing it, but we do the Valkyrie blessing to protect him from some damage. We do block him, we push him out. So not the worst thing ever. Now Baba can heal. Gets the damage up, which I think does increase his heal. Yeah, his heal was 1,500. I also get an extra 500. So we almost kill his guy just from that. We go for that. He ends up moving his guy. I should have tried to guess where he was going to go based on that and aim it at the boost. But then you could whiff it too. So he goes for him, he gets a good hit, but the huge heal that you see. So let's see the damage there. I had 1838. So he did 1 damage to me. 1838 to 1837. Is that for real? 1838. Oh, 1827. He did like 11 damage to me. That's crazy. I'd be curious if he just hit me with a normal hit, what would happen? We miss with that. I was hoping maybe I'd hit him, but this is trouble. But the Baba damage is just too brutal here. We're running here. Oh, we do that. He can't get his ability off. And watch what happens here. Watch what happens here. Baba's ability hits him before his ability goes off, And then when his ability hits him, instead of having as much damage as RJ has, he has as much damage as the pig has, which isn't a lot of damage. So you'll see when it hits me, it only does 266 damage, and it heals me because it's super protect on me. So that was just not great for him. And I used the Baba to guess where he was gonna go, because if the Baba dies, I also get value, and it made him miss. I honestly thought he was gonna use something else, but it ended up working out really well there. Now we go this way. We both aim. I missed, but I hit the RJ. See what he's got replacing it. It's the Minotaur, interesting. He brings the Minotaur back to me. I dash to him, spines on me. Just decide to do a little damage over there. A little 230. See, honestly, I think that 230 damage I just did with her won me the match, I think. So I got healed there, big heal. So I'm back to 2683. He's down to 2183. Now this is the last turn. Now, technically speaking, both of us, I could move my Ravynn down here, and he could move his Ravynn over here. And I don't think there's any way either of us could hit each other. I don't think the abilities go that far. So either one of us could have caused a draw here, because if he would have gone over here and I would have gone up here, I mean, maybe if I would have guessed where, it would just been unlikely. But we both, this reminds me of, there was a recent UFC battle matchup against, it was Holloway and Gaethje, I think. And at the end, it was a good fight, solid, and one of them was probably going to win by decision, but it was the last like 10 seconds of the fight, and one of them just like pointed at the middle of the stage, or the arena, the octagon, pointed in the middle and was like, right here, right here. And they both just like went just bow for blow right in the middle. When they could have just let the 10 seconds go, they both decided in that moment, we're just gonna finish it right here. And one of them would have definitely won, and the other guy's like, well, I gotta fight him, because like this, I'm definitely gonna lose, so I gotta fight him. And the other guy had the balls to fight him right in the thick of it. So I feel like this is that moment. Like, he's got an attack boost, but I've got way more health in this situation. So we both make the decision to go offensively and try to hit him. So we both bump each other, but he spines me, which actually, no, it doesn't hit me. Doesn't push me away because I wasn't close enough. I get super protect, 585. I think he does too. He uses sharp feathers. He has 2082. I have 2865. I hit him, but I only hit him for 1318. And based on how much damage I took, he also hit me with his spines there. Look at that. He also hit me with his spines to do even more damage on top of that. So I truly think if I wouldn't have done like 200 some damage to him, based on how much damage he did to me, I think he would have survived. And it would have been a tie ball game. But because I did that little bit of extra damage that turn before with the Valkyrie, or with the Val, I ended up winning that one. Crazy matchup, goes from potentially a draw to the win and closing out the series. I felt like the Pacers on that one. Look at that, he's got 4,666. He's impossible to kill. Tough matchup. Well played though, Sword of Mana, well played. I thought you were... based on what I was looking at, I thought that you were potentially the strongest opponent. No offense to anybody else, but based on how the matches went. Okay, so Capt Cannibal, currently the top #1 player in the game, so he's playing the game a lot. We got this one with all the poison barrels in the middle like 4 times. But Capt Cannibal and me, my second round matchup was on a Wednesday night. And if you don't know me and the stream... is the music playing? Oh, it's just a quiet part of the music. If you don't know me in the stream, Wednesdays is date night for me and the lady. So typically I can play a tournament matchup on like my lunch break, but today I had, that day I had just a bunch of work, meetings were going through. I didn't have any spare time. And the person I was trying to match up with lived in Italy. So we didn't have much of a, overlapping time for him to make it happen. So I ended up having to concede because he was available plenty of times, and I just wasn't. So I conceded to him. So I technically lost in the quarterfinals. or the semifinals, and he went on to play NXR in the finals, and NXR beat Capt Cannibal to get to the finals. And we'll have a couple of those matches, so stick around for some matches from NXR. Shout out to him for getting me those matches. He shared them on his profile. And Capt Cannibal and me were technically tied for third, and Magenta Rat had a prize for third. So I asked him, like, are we tied for third or what? And he said, you can play for third. And I was like, okay, yeah, that makes sense. So me and Capt Cannibal on this match are playing for third place here, or on these matches are playing for third place. So he had the Petra, which, like I said, looking back, would it have been better for me to have Petra instead of, see, he had the Pierce. You see how that Pierce works? But if he would have had, if he, see the Pierce works because it helps to, you know, make sure you hit me, and you can protect yourself by like putting one of your units behind it, and you can pierce through your own unit to hit me, and then I can't hit you and I'll hit the unit instead. So it actually does work pretty well. But if, like, think about this, without the Pierce, he would have done 60% damage debuff to me right here, which would have severely impacted what happens now, because I have 40% damage boost that can still hit him. He's going to probably miss me with the Petra, and I hit him for 1722. So I hit him for much more damage. He's got me with the poison though, so that's kind of frustrating. 290 on the poison, trouble. But now he's down there. I'm going to move over here, get the heal. Don't think he expected that much of a heal, but see that? See how much less damage that is? He hit me originally for what? 1300 or something? What was the original hit? This original hit here, he hits me for, well, obviously it's 60% less, but just like to show the number, it's just kind of crazy to see. He hit me for 1378. And after the debuff here, he hits me for, oh, I missed it. He hits me for 551. Like, that's such a difference. He would have basically killed me without that debuff, right? So we get back to here, and he tries to get us with the ability. He should have tried to guess where I was going to go instead of hitting me where I went. But that wasn't a bad play, and we end up taking him out for game number 1. We all kind of had the same ideas, but I truly think that the Pierce versus the debuff is just such an impactful choice that I feel like, as somebody running Pierce over the debuff, I feel like there'd be no way for you to win. If I got now if you could somehow make it so I didn't get the debuff on you, because if it hits somebody else, so if you get my attack to hit somebody else, but after I hit you once with the debuff, the chances are I'm never, so I got lucky here that he moved it. And that's one interesting thing about playing a tournament and playing multiple matches one after the other with somebody, is that, you know, I know what they played last turn. You know, they know what I played last turn. So you can kind of think like, okay, if he's going to try to counter my play from last turn and where I played last turn, what can I play that would counter that play? So in this case, I'm like, okay, I think he's going to try to Petra my guy first turn, because last time I used Val first. So he thinks I'm going to use Val first. So he's going to try to lock my Ravynn in place with his Petra. So I moved my guy. This ended up working out really well. And I put the Valkyrie Blessing there to hope. I should have put it in front of him in a way, but I thought I would maybe block him. That's not bad. So now think about this. He didn't do much damage there to me, but I think the mark would have still applied, even though I was shielded. That's debatable. I'm not sure, but he could have the mark on me right now and I'd be doing less damage to him, right? So I decided to do this. Maybe not a great choice. I think I should have kept the, that was a good hit though by hitting him after I moved. But I should have I think I should have kept the, okay, so now there I'm pretty sure I'm going to get hit by him. Ends up not working because even though I shield it, I still get rooted. I thought maybe I wouldn't get rooted, so that was a mistake in me not knowing the interaction. I should have probably not used Ravynn the turn before and waited and used her and then been able to move him out of there. This was a big hit to hit me with both of those. I'm barely alive here, so this is trouble. So the issue here is that I'm not certain how much damage the Teska is going to do on a dash. on that, it did 470, so I'm sure the dash would have been more. So if he would have hit me, ends up hitting me with the poison, but if he would have hit me with the dash, I would have died anyway before I could have Baba healed. So I should have maybe Baba healed and seen what happened, but I don't think I was out of that. I got locked up by the Petra, and that cost the game there. And that is the one reason why I thought that maybe I should have had Petra over the Val. I did get some insane value from the Val from that boost though. And then a couple times, you know, the Protect I think was pretty solid. But it's tough to know for sure. So here again, we go with this one. We're going to get hit. It doesn't actually bother me that much because I don't get debuffed, right? So that doesn't hurt me that much. 1300, he did 1300 to me, and I'm going to do 1700 to him, right? So that's a big difference there. Now, I would say if he, knowing that I don't have the Pierce, he should be trying to body block me. Now, he knew I was in this area. Maybe he thought I was going to come down here and shoot that way. That's possible. So maybe he was trying to do this, but he should have tried to block where I was going. So he might have tried to, but he didn't succeed. So, but that's the play there, is to try to block it, because then I wouldn't have hit him. Now this is good. He can hit me with that, but the 584 damage protects me, and he only does 1300 instead of like the 2000 it does without that. So now I should be able to kill him with my guy. We need to move to a position though where we're not going to get hit. I think I should have moved back through the poison and used the ability that way, but my issue was that I think if he would have Baba'd and healed him, my ability wouldn't have killed him, and then I might have died next turn because he would have been able to chunk me enough. So I went this way. I get bumped by the Petra, end up taking damage there, and he doesn't use his ability, so I don't take extra damage, but I also don't heal from it. So I think net positive for him, but I end up still, even though I'm aiming down at the Petra, I still hit his Ravynn and end up taking the win there. So a lucky aim there, because like the Petra will if you bump a Ravynn and they get bumped too far away, that attack has like 4 attacks, and it'll aim in the middle. It'll turn and aim to the middle, and if they're too far away, it'll completely whiff, hitting the person that got dashed to. So it's kind of interesting. All right, now I do the same thing here, the dash. Now he locks me up. Now here he succeeded. I can't really do my move, but I want to save the heal. So I end up just doing that to kill the Petra. Maybe if I kill the Petra, no big deal. But I wanted to keep the heal. We block him, heal it. He's still going to block me, though. I'm hoping that maybe he'll use the ultimate and try to lock me down that way instead of this lockdown. But we end up still using that. We get the heal. Now I'm a piggy. So I think this play won me the match right here. Moving the pig over here. He whiffs the Petra, which gives me, now I'm not locked up, and I'm going to be protected now going on. We're going to decide, he's going to decide here, but I figure out where he's moving, and I block him. And now watch this. He was going to hit me with it. He was going to hit my Ravynn with it. But just like that happened earlier, it turns into the pig before the damage happens, right? It turns into the pig before the damage happens, and the projectile doesn't do much damage. It only does 150 damage because that's how much the pig probably has. So that's an incredible hit there. We move up and away, which does protect if I use the normal hit, but because I use the ability, we still get through. I am stuck here though, so he could potentially use his ability on me if he goes to me. But because of where I am, I don't think he can dash through me and get enough value. So his play, I think really his only play. Okay, I get this. So this is actually interesting, because if I would have taken Val and dashed through him and done the damage, I would have killed him. I looked at that value plus the poison. I would have killed him. But I thought that he was going to move his guy here and just use his ability on my guy, which I didn't have him debuffed, so I thought that that would probably kill me if you hit me with all 4 of them. That would probably kill me, or even just 2 of them. So that would probably kill me. So I'm hoping that I can intercept the Ravynn before it gets to me and hope that the placement of the ultimate will miss my person. But he uses Tesca, which is a lot of value. But I use the shield, which protects from a huge amount of value. I end up healing more than I'm damaged, and he heals from the super protect though as well though, so we're kind of even there. And I do a little bit damage for the push there, so not bad here. We end up moving this way. Now this is basically just guessing game, which one of us guessed better. And so in my opinion, if I was him, he should have aimed parallel to the top in case I went up there, because that was an option for me to go max range to the top. And then he should have tried to aim where I was originally. Now, he might have still done that, but we end up getting him with our ability, and the poison from the barrel takes us out, or takes him out, which in my opinion is kind of annoying. Like I would be kind of upset if I was him, because you know, that's kind of random whether or not you get poisoned, whether or not the map has the poison barrel, stuff like that. So it's kind of interesting. But now these next matches are of NXR battling Capt Cannibal and for one match, and then Mega for the victory for the finals. So we'll look at that for a second. But just a couple interjections. One thing I think would be cool is to have an option in friendly fight to turn off map obstacles, so that there's not healing totems, there's not attack boosts, there's not random meteors spawning, there's not poison barrels, because you know, in a competitive situation, if you really want to be, you know, who's the best player, you don't, obviously it's part of the game to get around those things, but it's not fun to lose to the RPG. It's not fun to lose to that either. But it's not good to lose to the RNG of a game, whether it's like, oh, I lost a game of Control because the random meteor happened to hit on my head that turn and kill me. You know, stuff like that. That like you truly do lose because of something random. That isn't great. So for him there, you know, I did a ton of damage from that poison, from that. That's kind of annoying. I don't love that. But here we have Capt Cannibal versus NXR. I took one match from each of these. Obviously, they played multiple. They had some draws, I think. But I took the one where the win was by 2 points. I kind of assumed that would be the best one. They both miss that. Not bad. And I will honestly say, my Ravynn is a special skin, like a dark skin that I got from getting second place in the last tournament. But I kind of like this one better. The light hair and the white wings and the white outfit. I kind of like that better. I think that actually aesthetically that looks really cool. And the blue eyes, I think that looks really cool. But I will also say, I don't know what I was saying. I don't know where I was going with that. But yeah, it was just kind of interesting. So the Ash is interesting to see. I didn't see Ash when he played me, did I? So the fire, I don't think the fire is great. You know, pushes me away, kind of might help me. Doesn't really do all that much damage. So I don't really necessarily hate that or love that. And the poison and the fire, actually, he probably did that on purpose to turn him on fire. It was a smart play. And then that fire is going to be there all game, though. Now that Strip is a good one to use. Strip's ability is potentially really strong, and that pull right there made him slower. So maybe he can't get into the position he wants to get into. Maybe it's easier for you to hit him on the next one because you know he can't move very far. And with the Strip, you can do quite a bit of damage if you do if you get bonus attack when dashing right here. You can hit him with both. See, 1194 for a non-VIP unit is a lot. And you can hit him with both of those things to do a ton of damage to him. And then after that, after you do that ton of damage to him, it'll silence them, so you can't use their ability next turn, which could save you. Now, this was just an incredible kind of guess there, where NXR moves to right where Capt Cannibal moves his guy, and then just hits him with his ability with like all of them. Not getting the kill there is tough, but you should be able to just dash right through him, and then even if you would have tried to Baba heal him or something like that, it wouldn't have mattered. So some interesting fact that we kind of saw some different units. I would have been interested to play NXR and Mega. I think NXR's strip might have actually beat me up pretty bad, but I think my Baba heal setup and my setup, and they use piercing instead of the boost. I think I would have potentially beat either him, either NXR or Mega, but I could be wrong. Obviously, that's hindsight of watching some of the losses and stuff. I just felt like my setup was just a little bit better built up to take advantage of the teams a little bit more. Like this first one, they both miss again. Not bad. Like if he would have hit me with that, it wouldn't matter that much because I would have smoked him with mine the next turn and I would have debuffed him. He wouldn't. Well, actually, I'm not positive if Mega has the debuff or not. We have to look. But in my opinion, I think I would have beat either one of them. So it's kind of annoying that it happened to be on date night and I had to concede, just because I didn't have the time to match up with them. And I would have had the time, but this date night we went out and we had drinks, and then when we came back we had a fire and we had more drinks, and I was just a bit inebriated. NXR choosing to kill people is interesting because it's gonna guarantee heals on people, but he was full health anyway, so it's interesting. Right here could be the win, but he blocks him with the Valkyrie and drops him. The sharp feather is probably gonna miss both of them and hit. Oh my! It went between them. Oh my! That was actually an incredible play by Mega there. You could say it's lucky, maybe that's exactly what he meant, but because of the way that the aiming works, is when he it was definitely game over here. Now, if I was NXR, I don't think you had to hit him with two. He had an attack boost. See, he's got an attack boost from something, I'm not sure what. But I don't think that he had to hit him with both attacks to kill him. Maybe he does if he has the healing gift or whatever. But I would have moved him more like this direction or up this way or somewhere where it would have been harder for one of these, or for one of these. Actually, it would have been over here. I would have gone this way. Somewhere would have been harder for one of these to get to you. Why they're both using Rapunzel is weird to me. To get to you, so then he wouldn't have been able to do what he did. But he gets to him, he bumps him, and because of that bump, his ability doesn't, instead of two-shotting him, it doesn't even hit him. It doesn't even use the shield up. Look at that. So now he has the shield. The super protect heals him. Okay, so maybe it wouldn't have been able to kill him, but that's incredible. But he's still full health here. Now he can dash through. Oh, the same thing's gonna happen here, folks. Oh, and the pushback. Uh-oh. Same thing. No, he does hit him once, though. That was crazy. The problem here is Mega doesn't have the Baba heal, and I think that's a mistake. Did he have it to start and he died? I can't remember. No, this is what he started with. So NXR's being smart here. Oh, and the huge Tezca boost. The good play there. See, that was his goal when he played me, because that worked for him there. Maybe that's why he did that against me, was, you know, he ran the Tezca into my VIP, which is potentially a lot of damage. But I was able to thwart it a little bit. Well played. That's my ending there. I appreciate you guys stopping by and checking out the video. If you haven't already, make sure you like the video and subscribe. So as far as the tournament goes, things we learned, I think we learned that people would probably prefer Brawl over VIP, just because VIP's proneness to draw because of the ability to heal. Now, I think if you banned Baba, and Jiang from being the VIP and Baba from being there, I think that's enough. The other heals I don't think are enough, where I think eventually you'll start killing people towards the end. But I don't think the answer is like healing reduction or something. I don't think that's necessarily the answer, but I think banning them for tournaments would be interesting. Also, like we said, it was interesting to use the same units. You saw that there's kind of a meta in VIP, and you're seeing the same units a lot. But that's going to happen regardless. Just like zone control, you know, you're going to see Rapunzel in zone control, right? Like that. There's no getting around that. But I feel like the like we were talking about, having units chosen. Like I was thinking maybe like an underused tournament where maybe Magenta Rat can give us statistics about what cards are used the least amount in like ranked mode, and then we can pick those like bottom 10 units, and you have to build a 6-man team out of those 10 units. So you get a little bit of a difference. Another thing is maybe we could pick the 6 units that everybody has to use. You can put them in whatever order you want, but you have to use these 6 units. I think that could be something interesting as well. Maybe put like themes together. You can only use dashers, you can only use shooters, you can only use supports, whatever it might be, or mages, whatever they call people. I think that would be a couple interesting options. If you have ideas for fun things we can do for tournaments or modes you'd want to do for tournament, make sure you leave it in the chat. I will try to get everybody's comments to Magenta Rat. On top of that, I believe in the future, I'm going to show him how we can potentially set up the brackets where instead of saying this tournament is for 8 people, we can just get as many entries as we need. And because this tournament, we had 8 people in the tournament, but we didn't quite have 16 to make it a good bracket setup. So we didn't quite get there. There's probably 4 extra people, I think, but the site that we use has the ability to accommodate that. And what we basically do is we just kind of take the 4 people that would probably have lost round 1 anyway, based on previous performance. We put them in like a play-in tournament, and then they play into the first tier of the tournament. And then you just go from there. So basically that makes it so that, you know, somebody like myself, Sword of Mana, Rickcast for sure. Rickcast played matches against NXR, and he said those matches were very good, but they were already gone and he couldn't share them. So unfortunately, we don't have those to look at, but he said those matches were really fun. Rickcast is a very good player. He's the person who beat me in the last tournament. This tournament, 3rd place, last tournament, 2nd place. Feel pretty good about my tournament, especially since the people that I've been playing with, some of them have been playing much, much longer, because I should have known the game was out in France and I should have VPN'd there. I should have known. Anyway, tournament setup, we can do something like that. So like me and Sword of Mana probably shouldn't be matched up first round, because if he would have been in any other bracket, I feel like we would have matched up in the finals, because I feel like he could have beaten any of the other people based on what I saw. Just because like the Rapunzel compared to our setups, the Rapunzel just wasn't a good choice. So I feel like we could have won just because our setups were just better. Not necessarily because we're going to play better. I think our setups were just better, partially because we've been playing a little bit longer than those guys, and we understand, you know, a little bit about what's good and what's not good. And partially because, you know, if your perks aren't set up right, maybe you don't have the option to play the right stuff. I get that. That's fine. If you focus more on Brawl, you're not even going to have the VIP setup stuff. Like, you need the healing stuff, the first tier healing. You might not have even bothered the sparks to get that. I get it. But we're going to do better in the future. I kind of help him do the tournament. So brought to you by him and me, kind of Ubisoft and me. But I appreciate the support by being here. And if you've lasted this long, make sure you like the video. Make sure you leave a comment. I'm going to start trying to get more bump videos out there. I haven't been playing as much. I need to start grinding a little bit more. As you can tell from my rank, I don't even think I was diamond. I feel like a little noob. But once again, thank you so much. And make sure you visit the Discord if you want to join a future tournament and see if you can stand up to me. Because I truly felt like I was the best player in that tournament. No, I'm just kidding. Good games to everybody. Rickcast, we didn't watch him, but good games to him. Sword of Mana, NXR, Mega, Capt Cannibal, everybody allowing me to use their videos. I didn't ask permission from everybody, but I'm sure it's cool. And to be honest, NXR shared them. They're not exactly private, so everybody playing the game could look at the masters and see the matches. So I don't feel bad sharing the games in this game just because they are kind of public. Anyway, I appreciate you guys. Thank you so much. A 49-minute video. Insane. The tournament bringing the content to you. We'll see you guys on the next one. Peace out.